Hey guys, hey survivors, welcome back to the channel. It's pretty cool seeing you guys interacting with each other. Thank you for your patience. I had one little short that I came across a filter. I'm like, I got to do this one real quick. And then, of course, I let my dog in. So good to see you guys. John says hello. Hey, everyone. Debbie is here. Good, Debbie. Hi. Hello, Cynthia and the group. Hope everyone is doing well. How are you doing today, Debbie? John says hello to you, and you say back, just another day in paradise. I feel you on that. Just another day. John says, yeah, it's been quiet where I am. Debbie says here too, another snowstorm. Do I have, oh my gosh, I have off until Wednesday. I go back to school Wednesday. I wonder if I'll have another snow day. We had a snow day on Friday. John says rain for us the next few days and getting freezing rain where Debbie is. So yeah, a lot of yucky weather going on. I did a lot of research today. About the arrested development of the narcissistic brain. Also, it can affect us too. During the developmental stages of growing up, people can get stuck at certain different ages that they don't emotionally go through the process that they need to go through, and other things can affect it, whether it's alcohol use, even cigarettes. So if you're a person, you're a narcissist, did they dabble with things, early on? I think I was at the playground and there's a 9-year old smoking cigarettes, and some people start really early, but um there's a thumbs up. Thank you so much, John. Those thumbs up help with the algorithm, trying to get this channel to grow so we can meet in person with 5,000 subscribers. And still got to set that green screen up. I had dinner with a friend, went to church today. And that's still pretty emotional. When we're going through the healing process, a lot of the times we're still angry, but I see another thumbs up. Thank you. But try not to be mad at God. Sometimes, the narcissist might have been put into our life for a reason, to lead us down a different path that we wouldn't go through unless we went through the trauma. I also spoke with my friend who is borderline, and she might be hopefully doing a interview video with us. Highway to Hell. Yeah, and that's the thing at church. Yeah, they got pretty real about some things, as far as hell. Yeah, a lot of things we don't want to hear. I know some of you might be from different religions, but today they're like, you know what, if you're living with someone or doing this or the transgender type stuff or homosexuals, and yeah, they got pretty real. But as far as the arrested development, you're Protestant. I had this is a new church. I've never been to it before. I didn't even ask what denomination, but they had somebody speak out in tongues today. And I was trying to figure out, like, wait, what? Because it was really interesting. The pastor got real emotional, and right after that, um, John's Catholic. But right after that, I can't remember what he said. I think it was just regular sermon type stuff, but he got real emotional. And right after he said that, this lady stands up and starts speaking in tongues, which I'm not used to. And at first I was like, is she saying something? Was this like planned that she's supposed to shout something out? She was near the front row, if not in the front row. It's kind of angled, so it's hard to see. Um, and yeah, I grew up non-denominational. But I was like, is that because I know languages, and I can usually detect, well, which one they are, whether I understand them or not. But I was like, is that Italian or Spanish? And I'm like, I'm not hearing enough succinct syllables to figure out even which language it is. And then she spoke in English. So I was really confused. And I couldn't understand her words. She was too far away, so I couldn't pick up her syllables. So that left me a little confused at first. The lady that took me there was, saying it was speaking in tongues. And she said a lot of times too, she thinks there was one church she went to where the pastor or whatever says, we're not leaving until somebody speaks in tongues, and trying to give it you know, time to manifest. And she said that I think people just got sick of waiting, so they stood up and just said whatever. Melissa is here. Hi, Melissa. How's your day going? But the talk I had with the borderline today was extremely interesting. Um, I knew her years back, still, we're friends on Facebook, but she was like, you know, all the things that she was going through. She identifies as a very sexy woman, but she's gained a lot of weight over the last like 2 years, like quickly. And so now, it's almost like, uh, she's having a real hard struggle with that. Posts a lot of things from the past. And she's like, yeah, she's with a narcissist. They break up all the time, and she was saying what he was like, very dismissive on the emotions, and he doesn't get deep, doesn't want to change. And she was very honest about the things that she's going through as a borderline. She was diagnosed for over 20 years with bipolar, and the advice you give somebody with bipolar is different than you give something to somebody who has borderline. So she's been really struggling. You were Presbyterian church for almost all my life. That's what we started out with, and then it turned non-denominational. But yeah, I'm kind of both, I guess. So that's fantastic. Debbie says my insides are rattled. The narcs picture came up on my messenger. He still has me blocked, still from August 24th. Um, how did it come up on Messenger? Uh, did you look at his profile or something? I don't know how that would work. But yeah, it can rattle you. Sometimes we get an adrenaline rush, like, are they reaching out to me? And then, you know, uh, sometimes it's a letdown or a relief, that there's different kinds of narcissists, different on the spectrum, But as far as the borderline, she was saying how, yeah, I do mirror people. I didn't even realize about myself. So she is self-aware, she is trying to grow, but she's like, yeah, I have no identity and I see things as black and white. And she's like, there's no middle ground. And they freak out on the middle ground. And we're more used to the middle ground where, yeah, sometimes people mess up or sometimes people, try too hard, but we're confident in ourselves, comfortable in ourselves. But when we're with that narcissist, it um, throws us off cue. We turn into somebody who becomes codependent because of the isolation that we go through. Sometimes we self cause that, where we're paranoid that we're going to upset the balance of the relationship, or we're flat out told you cannot hang out with those people, and we just start losing ourselves. And the mirroring that goes on, is like with their situation. um no clue. Debbie says no clue. No clue what you are. We were non-denominational. No clue. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, sorry. Yeah, no clue to why it popped up. So yeah, it can rattle us. We are so affected. We get trauma bonded to them. And that's because during that time, we get blindsided or fooled, and it's the brain chemistry. And it just turns so toxic because there's a pattern of what you expect, and we're not safe with the narcissist. John says, I actually am getting somewhere with that roller seat idea. Had to add a single wheel support in the rear so it won't tip over. And I can attach a dual motor assembly to it if I want. Oh my gosh. Working away like crazy. That would be kind of cool though. That would be kind of cool. Would it be just on cement, or would it be able to go over terrain? That's a big vocabulary word for me. Some terrain. That was the hardest thing with my dad, how he lost his leg. Sometimes, couldn't really get over grass, things like that. If you can get something like that, that would be fantastic. Debbie says, I have no idea how it popped up. I got excited for a second. I said, "Deb, chill out." Yeah, and I did that too. You get, like, that adrenaline rush and, you start trembling or shaking sometimes, and that relates, you know, well, we're kind of in a higher state of vigilance. I don't know if that's the correct vocabulary word, but um, sometimes we're high in tune to hoping they reach out or not. So Debbie, is this day 7? How many days is this? Is this day 7? And Melissa and John, feel free to join in, other people too. And John says basically flat terrain because the wheelbase is so low to the ground. Okay. Oh, I think I have another spider bite. I don't know. I had it yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's 2 dots there. I think I have I'm hoping it's not another brown recluse because there's no reason that should, I don't know. So we'll see if that's a brown recluse spider. I had my legs healed from that. Now it's starting to scare me because that started getting bad. It doesn't itch though, but it has 2 fang marks. Debbie says today, day 7, and I did not cave and I won't. Stick to it because you made it. I can't remember if you said 7 months, but you made it quite a few months. And you know, we make all this progress and, sometimes the narcissist's there to pop in. They're not there to love us again. They're just there to, you know, check in on their supply. Mia, hi Mia. Hello Cynthia. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Today was a good day. It was I started talking about being at church though. Uh you know, it's hard the feelings that we have. Sometimes there is still some residual anger, but I keep telling you about that guy I dated who ended up murdering his girlfriend. Thank God I broke up with him. We don't always know why things happen. Um, Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, even though it hurts. It can be meant to save our lives or take us down a better uh, avenue. Debbie says, my therapist has always said, I am one of the most honest people he knows. Also, my integrity is solid. And hold on to that. That is fantastic traits. So don't let the narcissist change you, you know. Narcissists will take advantage of that. They know everything about you, but they're not willing to share the same, and they want to know where you are or who you're talking to. And my friend that was over, she says that her person is the biggest narcissist. He gets physical. Now she has a boiling point. She punched his TV, like busted it, but he like physically grabbed her chest. She showed me bruises on her breasts, and they had just gotten back together 2, 3 months or something. And he's going through her phone looking for things. She hasn't been with anybody while they were together, and he's going back like 2 years, and they've only been together 7 months with like 3 breakups or something. They're just toxic relationships, but it gets confusing when some of the narcissists can have double decade long relationships. And it doesn't mean that it's a good relationship, though. We have to remember that. Amia says, good to see you too, John. And Melissa, you went to church earlier today. How do you feel when you go to church? This was a really good church. I enjoyed the message, and there's some exciting things that are going on with at college campuses. They're having like week-long revivals 24/7. They're starting one again today. You had a good sermon, and it's good when they're uplifting, and they had a great band. It's a large church. Um, make sure it's a good church if you guys go to one. That'll Oh, that's fantastic. So God answered one of your prayers. Now, did he answer it by fruition or by a feeling? Like, did it happen, or you just, because sometimes our prayers are personal, but you saw it come to light, and sometimes too, just even us um, working through our thoughts, and that's what's it's kind of like talk therapy. When you're praying, it is like talk therapy. You're talking through things. If you even just said, I don't know why my health is so bad. I think I need to eat healthier. Please help me make better choices. That kind of lets you know what is going on, and it could relate to whatever your prayer is. Um, you might say, I'm afraid of losing my mother. Things like that. It works out to where you're like, okay, I need to spend more time with her. Little things like that can answer your own questions. And that's fantastic, Melissa. Thank you for showing us. Real Deal Prime. Welcome. Lots of love and peace to all. Same back to you. Debbie says, um, not this time around. The first time he told me who I could talk to and who I can't. I told them you are not my keeper. They like to control us. They definitely like to control us, and it's not a two-way street. So, real deal. Good to have you guys here. Feel free to join in. I'm good with different conversations at the same time. John says, I kind of think God's the one whispering these invention ideas out at me. Just a gut feeling. I certainly can't take all the credits. And that's what's so fascinating about the human body is I could sit there and go, okay, we're created by accident, but like the personality and the thoughts and the abilities and how everything we need pretty much is available. And, you know, um, just down to the difference between men and women, how we can procreate over two little cells and all the chromosomes. It's just mind blowing. Um, So I don't think it just happened. That's just me. Um, maybe, there's things that, I've had things answered in my dreams. Why did those dreams have these thoughts pop into my head? Things I never would have pulled from. Silly little things sometimes, but you can see that there's a higher power somehow. Melissa says we got baptized in our small church on this month. Ooh, that's great. Melissa says I see my mom and brother in church. Yeah, and it's really good when families do go together. It's a bonding time, also gives you motivation to go see your family. So I'm glad to hear that. And then you have stuff to talk about, what the sermon was about or the plans, are you ready, available for the church picnic? And it helps build stronger relationships within families. And life itself is a miracle. Yeah. And, you know, I wish I could remember the exact thing. I think I shared a while back, but how did it go? The grandfather, it's like generational, how they start out with kind of like a crap car, and then the next one gets a better car, and then the next one gets like a high dollar car, and then it goes all the way back down. That the easier life gets, the more money you have. The generations below have some advantage to it, but they don't know how to get it. So in the beginning, you're striving and striving and striving to get it. It's motivation. And then once you reach the top, a lot of times people either take advantage of that situation to where the children are like, this is a smooth ride, where they're not learning how to cope, what the struggle is. And this struggle can be a rebirth to uh, get the life that we're meant to have, to rebuild. And it sucks that um they tore us down so much. But I told you about the different pulled muscles that I've had. Sometimes things have to fall apart so they can be put together the right way. Just like when you paint something, you have to remove the rust, you have to remove the crap to prime it. So we're priming our new future right now. And I'd like you guys to look at it that way. It's not perfect. You see a rusted steel. Um, piece of whatever, or a painted piece of wood, and you got to take some things off too. As I as I take my shirt off, you got to take some things off um, to prime it, and we're priming our lives right now. We can leave it crappy and paint over it, but it's not going to turn out as good as if we take the time to prime ourselves. And I hope that makes sense. But each day is a new day. It's a new start. So those milestones are good to have. One thing, it can keep us on track. Um, but one thing I'm hoping that you can do, Debbie, in a little bit is to let go of the count. Count for a little bit. Sorry about my ugly spider bite. But to let go of the count, because eventually you can do it for a little while, but if you continue doing it, you're like, today's day 27, today's 20, can I make it to 28? And you're going to be fixated still on your person. So do it for a little bit of time. Just like with weight loss. This is where I want you guys to be careful with is, when you see the progress, it can really be helpful. But any little setback that you might have can sometimes make you feel guilty or a failure. That a lot of times that's why diets don't work. So, um, see if you can make it a month and then it's smooth sailing and don't keep track of it. And I'm really glad you're here, real deal. And that's my friend building my relationship. That's a girl I went to church with. So, reconnecting with friends that we've missed out on. John says my leg injury took 2 years of personal physical therapy to get it where it is now, walking much better these days. And that just shows, there are some struggles that we have to go through, but things, often do work out. Love the mole. Hey, unknown. Are you talking about my mole, my spider bite? Is that what you're talking about? We'll call it a mole. I agree. You like my mole? My two-fang mole? I'm hoping it's not a brown recluse spider bite. Um, you guys can keep track of it. So, how are you doing today, unknown? I'll cover my spider bite up. Debbie says, if it wasn't for all of you, I would have given into the narc. This time he comes around or he doesn't. I accept if it doesn't happen. But if he does, I'm going to remain quiet. You lost 155 pounds. That's fantastic. Good for you. I lost 78, but 155. That's great. Um, Unknown says any other as big as this. I'm not sure what you mean. Any other as big as this. But that's great, Debbie. Sometimes too, though, when we congratulate people, sometimes we need to know what the true story is. Was it due to depression? Was it a healthy thing? Um, so hopefully it was a planned and wanted weight loss, but are you feeling better? Any other mole as big as this? I don't know. I don't know. Is this our friend? I'm not sure what you mean by mole. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by mole. The animal mole or like a freckle mole. John says, "Good for you, Debbie." Thumbs up, 100%. And I got a couple other thumbs up. I appreciate that, guys. But a lot of times, either when we start getting our lives in order, I noticed that too. And I wasn't sure if I was even going to mention it today. But when I was at church, I live in Michigan. We have a lot of heavy people in Michigan. You go down south to Florida, things like that. The people in general, and I'm talking in general, are thinner. Um, and even at my schools or things like that, we have quite a few heavy people, but at church, it was really interesting. There weren't that many heavy people. And if they were heavy, it wasn't by much, And I was wondering, is it that they're happier? I've been to churches where people are heavier, but it seemed like a really good church, a really good network. Could that have something to do with it? Um, things balance out the happier we are. And with mental illness, it affects our digestion, it affects the food choices that we have. We might resort to comfort eating or alcohol, which has, some high calories or sugars. Um, and lack of sleep, that we burn more calories when we're sleeping. If we oversleep, we start burning less. There's a whole science to it. And we have to take care of ourselves, you know? Um, but I'm really proud of you. And I'm glad that we can help Debbie. You know, this is what this is all about, trying to support each other. And I get some more thumbs up. You guys are so sweet. Yeah, the more money I make off of YouTube, the more antibiotics I can get for my brown recluse. I'll tell you what though, it's a lot of work for YouTube. I've been doing this for a little over a year, and at the end of the month, I finally have made $100 to cash out. So if you look at my videos, I have close to 600 videos, a lot of shorts, a lot of live chats. So I'm just glad you guys are here, but it's definitely appreciated that you guys support the channel and come and visit me. Debbie says I've had too many surgeries too close together. I thought if I lost weight, he would like me more, but he hasn't seen me. I'm wearing leggings. Yay, lots of new clothes. That's the thing. Yep, lots of new clothes. That was my favorite part about losing weight. And um, you know, I see that a lot and I understand it. I lost weight. When I lost it, I had mono and got real sick, lost 14 pounds from being sick. And then I just kept it off because my stomach shrunk so much. I really couldn't eat anything. If I ate an apple, I felt like I ate a Thanksgiving Day meal. It was miserable. My stomach shrunk so much, but made it easier to lose the weight. Um, but yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, we put a lot of emphasis on body. You know, I'm a burn victim. I have scars. You know, people with, do I have the right size chest or um different things, you know, do I have enough facial hair if you're a guy, or chest hair, or too much, and all this stuff. And we should really like appreciate people for who they really are, you know. Um and sometimes we grasp at things to change, hoping that the person's really going to like us. But if they don't like us for our heart, then, you know, they're missing the most important part of us. Melissa says, I'm praying for you guys. We pray for you too, Melissa. How's it been going lately, Melissa? I know we all have our own personal struggles, and, um, you know, God does answer prayers, and they say, you know, more people praying. Debbie says, now I'm doing it for myself. And that's when you're going to be happiest. You know, there's not going to be any resentment. Like, I did all this for you and you don't even appreciate it, don't even acknowledge it. When you do it for yourself, you're going to feel a lot better for yourself. And you know, it's really interesting how self-esteem makes a big difference. You guys keep, I love those thumbs up. Thank you. Because I was talking to that girl at the borderline and personality disorder, and she was telling me about her narcissist. It sounds like it. She's been diagnosed by a therapist, but she was just saying, you know, I I talk about my feelings and he doesn't care. And the way the conversation sounded, you know, he doesn't want to change and acknowledge, and uh she's seeking validation. She might be I wouldn't doubt it if she's histrionic as well. That's what Amber Heard was, histrionic and borderline. Um, but pain causes pain with other, you know, hurt people, you know. Happy people tend to lift each other up or not be so bothered by things, you know. And some of us have triggers, you know, that something in our childhood um, molded us, you know. And with the arrested development, you know, the narcissist can get stuck at different stages. And with the brain damage and our brains grow until somewhere around age 25. So, you know, with all the alcohol and drugs and all that stuff, that's, you know, that can cause some damage too. Narc, stop. growing mature. And yeah, they like being in that childlike state. They have no desire to change. Like, as a kid, they had probably, a lot of freedom, or, at least lack of parental guidance where they got away with doing whatever they wanted, you know. So why change it? Why change the rules now? But with their impulsivity, and a lot of it does, I'll go more into like the dopamine and norepinephrine and or noradrenaline, and how all that affects, and the differences in different medications, and um the needs that we have. Norepinephrine, um is it comes from dopamine. It's like this whole chain reaction. And if something isn't there, the body isn't right. Debbie says, Marty, our dog appreciates it. We go to the park a lot, so it's close, and he smells every tree. It smells great to be outside. I used to have bulimia, so I need to be careful. Yes. Because that can, certain triggers can bring that back. And it's great that you're honest about it. That's a part of the healing, is to acknowledge it, to know, um, sometimes what your triggers are, sometimes different things you need to avoid, ways to cope. If you're starting to have a stressful time, that, you pre-measure your things, or how are you able to overcome that? If you don't mind sharing, if not, that's okay. You don't have to share if you're uncomfortable with it. Um, Sometimes coping with the trauma, uh, removing triggers, removing temptations, finding other ways. Sometimes people will do it for weight loss, other times too, they just want to control something. They feel that their life is out of control, so they can control, you know, the purging part. Debbie says if narcs grow up, then comes responsibility, which is they don't do well. Yeah, they don't. And this is the thing, like some of them, more the grandiose can take care of themselves because image is important. So they can go to great lengths to become attorneys or CEOs or policemen, to get that image that they want. Others, will play the poor pity me thing. Somebody else just gave me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Um, that's where it gets confusing because it's like, wait, do they do that or they don't do that? It's just two different sides of the spectrum. Hey, Lily, good to see you here. Hello, hello. So I made tacos and taco salad. And my friend ate 5 of them. So, and yeah, she liked my dinner, and I made chocolate Rice Krispie treats. That's what I made. I gave her a choice between lasagna, brisket, and taco salad. So she picked tacos, taco salad. So Debbie says hi to Lily. Uh, your life is an open book. And, you know, when we can be vulnerable like that, my life's an open book. Ask me anything. That, we're not hiding things, and we're able to be our authentic self. So Lily says, hi, Debbie. Let's see who else. But hi, everyone. Yeah, sometimes it's like, who is here? Hi. We got some new people and some returning people. John says, hey, Lily. And I feel good today because, like I said, I reconnected with my friend, went to church, and then also, had a friend come over, and it feels good to reconnect. Mia says hello to Lily. And the more you guys return here, the more we're going to get to know each other's stories. And, just like you said, this group is really kind of helping. And it is the talk therapy. I know I can't um, auditorily hear you guys, but, you know, I- I can validate some of your feelings, or give you different perspectives. And tacos sound good. My daughter is obsessed lately with tacos at Taco Bell. She's in the Taco Bell stage. Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I don't mind them, but I mean, They're not the fanciest, but they're nice and quick. It depends on where you go. Like, if they make them right, there's a place in Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and they give you, like, the right amount of meat, but you go to Watervliet, Michigan, and they give you, like, a teaspoon of I don't even think it's a tablespoon of meat that they give you, and there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, just so you know. And who wants to ask about my arm my hand? My hand, I think, might be permanent. My little lump. I have a little pet lump in my hand now. I think it is a ganglion cyst, which you might need surgery, and that's just from, I think, sharpening like over 1,000 pencils in a day. Like, literally, there's one day I did about between 800 and 1,000. So yeah, damage can be done. Taco Bell, though, I wish they didn't change the cheese for the nachos because I don't like spicy stuff, and they have that little zing, that jalapeno or something zing to it. I just like cheese. And it seems like everywhere you go now, like pretzel bites with cheese and or pretzels with cheese. It's like, just do the cheese. Don't have that funky stuff in it. I'm old school. I eat like a 3-year-old. Um, so if you guys are having a bad day, feel free to let me know if there's anything I can help you with or any questions that you might have. But understanding the different mental illnesses that are out there could help us possibly have some self reflection on ourselves, some things that we're struggling with. Our emotions are a sign to ourselves of what's missing, what's needed. And my friend that I was telling you about, um, it's interesting how the reflections kind of work. Just like when she wanted attention, so she and it was probably a legit thing saying that he looked nice, and she feels good when he says it back to her. It's almost a need to mirror. Um, Hit your hand with a book, kind of flatten it. I know. It doesn't hurt, but I don't like it. And I keep rubbing it and then it kind of gets irritated. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's right there. It's not a callus or anything because nothing rubs on that area. So, yeah, I'm not perfect anymore, guys. So, I love doing the research. So if there's anything you guys want me to research, I will go ahead and do that. But the transmitters, the neurotransmitters in the narcissist's brain are blocked. They're not non-existent sometimes, and it can cause such uncomfort. My friend that came over was telling me about, I believe it was Xanax. I can't remember which Percocet, but Xanax. I can't remember. We talked about a lot of different things. I think it was Xanax that she said within 10 minutes it calmed her down. Like she would get into like a panic attack, things like that. And we can feel really off balance when our brain is not doing exactly what it needs to do, to where it can cause panic attacks and heart palpitations and high blood pressure and constricted vessels and stress, lead to heart attack and stroke. All these kind of things are interrelated, you know and it's crazy. I think it's 11 days. You can't go more than 11 days without sleep or you'll die. It's Everything is supposed to be working the way it needs to work to optimize us. But we start feeling uncomfortable when that mirror is changed. Uh, the narcissist, what they do is they pull from our mirror. They pull from who we are. And this is what I wanted to say. So as far as the mirroring, hello, you mirror back, hello. And it works. How are you? I am fine. How are you? And the mirroring is comfortable. We see ourselves, we get to know them. But when they take our identity in the love bombing stage, what makes us restless? Man, I went over that today. I don't want to say the wrong word. There, A lot of times our thoughts that are in our heads, let me see if I can pull it up really quick because I did research that today or came across it today. Um, what makes us restless? So let's see real quick. It can be a symptom of a mental health condition like attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, bipolar, or anxiety. Overstimulation can also cause us to feel restless and overwhelmed. Now, I do know different lighting, stress can, like John says, and uh, hyperthyroidism sometimes, depression, certain medications, and oh, how do I miss it? Debbie, I have this is Debbie says my life is an open book, and then I see hit your hand on a book. What makes us restless? You missed my comment under the tacos. I don't think I'm getting all your messages. We had that happen before. So going back, you say Marty, our dog appreciates it. Hello, Lily. My life is an open book. Hit your hand with a book. What makes us restless? And I'm not seeing it, and I don't know why. I know you've said that 2 or 3 times. I know you don't like retyping it. You wanna retype it so I can ask the other people if they are seeing it? Um, anxiety, it's the wiring in our brains. Our brains don't react. Yeah, because Debbie, I'd like to troubleshoot this. I wanna make sure, John, do you think our friend is here? Because this is happening again and, or Lily, what do you think? I'm not sure if you remember, who I'm talking about. Um, I had some, I had to change this to where it is for subscribers to comment because of some harassment that I went through. So I just wondering, you have hypertension that can cause hypertension as well. John says, I'm not seeing anything unusual yet. Okay. Um, did John, do you see the rest of Debbie's? I'm not sure. I don't think your previous one was that you have hypertension under tacos, but um if we get rid of some of these things, it can actually help it sometimes too. The foods I told you about, my brother who has hyperthyroidism, that his food changing, that's okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I want to make sure nobody is hacking. We had a period of time where not everybody's um texts were coming through. I don't see them. I read what I have, so um it doesn't look on my end that I skipped it. So I just don't see it on my end, and I don't know why. And I was hoping, uh, do you know what her other text was that I missed, John? She said it was what friend? Um, if you were talking about, I talked, I think about two friends. I think I referred to as this our friend back. And if they're in the chat room, they know who they are. It's somebody from the past that I had to block. We'll put it that way. I don't think you're talking about my bipolar or borderline friend that I was talking about. So just a harasser. So we had a couple people I had to block. So the paparazzi is real. Just thank you for confirming I'm famous now. Famous people get harassed. um, yeah, I just want to make sure that it's a safe environment for you guys to communicate. That you're not threatened in any other way. I just want to make sure your messages are coming through. It's under Lily's Tacos. Yeah, but it says hit your hand with a book. And I read that. And then the next one is what makes us restless. And then you say I missed it. So I that's what it is. That's what I see. I don't see anything more. She says her daughter is obsessed with Taco Bell. I don't see it. Hope it's not my narc. It's I don't know. I mean, are they watching YouTubes? Um, you know, uh oh, hope it's not your narc for making us restless. Um, I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But do our narcs make us restless? Sometimes we get really wound up about them, or they're on our thoughts, or, um, depression, anxiety, like all those things throw us off kilter. And the more we heal, the more things will fall into place. So try to practice self care, self affirmations. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get too, um, you know, depressed. The narcissist isn't, ruminating and longing and self reflecting, like, what did I do wrong? It hurts when people move on like that quickly, but they're able to do it because they don't have a depth to them. And they go through life with superficial relationships. People are disposable to them. And, they come back to us, we're just going to get discarded again or used. So, the girl I was talking to today was saying that I realize he's toxic for me. She's at least trying to work through things. She's self aware. He doesn't want to. And he's like, I don't want to change for anybody. And she's like, well, people change. And he wants to stay the same. She wants to grow. He doesn't want to grow. And, you know, she's like, I just feel like sometimes, like, what do I do? Like, do I take the abuse? I'm just afraid of the separation. And she said it, should I just accept this? Should I just accept the abuse? She's miserable. And she knows she's miserable. They get in shouting matches, they trigger each other. And, you know, they have a relationship, but it's toxic from both of them. And when we go into these relationships, we may have some pre-existing um, mental illnesses or mental sensitivities that we may have, but after a while, the narcissist cuts us down so much, makes us feel so insecure that we start believing those things. And that's why we act like the crazy person sometimes, that um, we're trying. And if they could help us communicate, we're trying to work through it. And if there's two people bringing things together, to the table to analyze it and come to a compromise, but we start getting overwhelmed where we're like, we're doing stabs in the dark, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it just gets exhausting. So how's everybody's week coming up look? I'm going antique shopping tomorrow is what I'm doing, but I think I'm having tacos for the next week. I made 3 pounds of taco meat because it was in one of those big old rolls. Um, I just really hope that you guys really believe in who you are, how much potential you guys have. And, um, you're probably on here trying to understand whether it's more about yourself or what went wrong or how to spot red flags, that you care enough to do the research, some help, self-help things. You care about yourself, that you're trying to figure out, how do I um, process this stuff? How do I heal from this? Why am I feeling this way? What you're feeling is so common for survivors of narcissistic abuse. And um, if you limit social media to where you don't miss out on your own life as well. Nothing can break my stride. Who sings that? Oh, it's just in my head. It's not Culture Club? No. Who sings Nothing Gonna Break My Stride? Nothing's gonna slow me down. Oh no. uh, who sings that? That was like when I was growing up. High school songs. I can picture it too. I can see like part of the video. Do you guys ever think in your head in visions? Um, I do, because I just see that. And people communicate different ways too, or process things. Some people think out loud in their head, And I do. When I read, I hear myself, and it's weird. Sometimes my abstract thoughts I don't hear, but my succinct thoughts I do. And I always wondered, like, how do deaf people process things? Because do they see signs? Um, there's auditory and visual, also kinesthetic learners where they do things through touch. Um, so there's not always one perfect answer for things on why we do certain things that we do. I love twin studies that gives you a little bit of comparisons because sometimes we're trying to figure out about genetics. And I'm researching on in the womb, uh, hereditary things. Debbie says, I saw red flags and he did try to BS me and didn't let him get away with it. We had to stand our ground, like, dude, I know you're lying. They don't like that, but, you know, um, they'll come up with any excuse to not tell the truth or to not admit it. And it gets really confusing. We start going, wait, what? So if you stay true to yourself, your reality stays true because they can manipulate your mind. That movie Gaslit. Um, Lily says narc abuse is like pieces of a pie. One slice is how you describe putting someone down. My ex-narc never did. Another slice, yep, another slice is lying. Another, a gaslighter, sneaky one, but not one narc is the whole pie. Exactly. That, yeah, it's an apple pie no matter how you slice it, but it's not a whole pie. When it comes to a narcissist, they only need 5 to 9 slices of that pie. So the pie's cutting into 9 pieces. They could have 7 pieces of their personality or all 9. If they have 4, they're just a jerk. you know, that's a good way to put it, Lily. Yeah. And now I have to go get me some apple pie with ice cream. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Debbie says, Lily, do you see my comment above yours? Yeah, Debbie, do you see I'm sorry, Lily, do you see the one about red flags that Debbie sent? And John is saying, yeah, nice analogy. She gets an A plus. Lily says that you saw red flags. Yes. Good. So we're on track with that. Those showed up. Okay. Yes, those are showing up. Yeah, next time let me know if it doesn't show up again, that I don't read it. I try to read all of them, so that's good. I like the way you put that though. 'Cause yeah, they only need 5 out of 9. And I'm thinking pumpkin pie. Yeah, pumpkin pie would work. Yep, I like pumpkin. Those are my 2 favorites, pumpkin pie and apple pie. But I really only like, well, I don't mind regular apple pie, but I like the Dutch crumb. So, I don't even know, do I like apple pie or just the crumbs? I'm still thinking about Calibri's quiche. That sounded really good. I haven't had quiche in so long. Um But when our body gets out of balance, we can be more sensitive to things too. And the vibrations with the narcissist, they pick up on things and sometimes are paranoid that our bad mood is something that they did. Sometimes when we take a nap, they're irritated that we're not at their beck and call. It's so unpredictable. That is there hope for them, you know? Um, they are very selfish people. Is it just them being selfish and an asshole? Um, there's times you're like, well, whatever, they're just selfish. Can I deal with that? But there's not that emotional connection. And that's where all the cut downs and disrespect and the silent treatments that it takes away who we are, the crazy making. Um, it's not, if you think about it, do we go around saying, we might say like what they did was so crazy, but we're not saying, at least I haven't seen it too much, where we're saying, they're bad shit crazy. we're brokenhearted, or we might say we got upset about it. It's hard to put into words sometimes. Lily says, but you can get more slices with pumpkin pie, which is more narc traits. That's true. It doesn't crumble all apart. It stays true to form. How's that? They stay true to form. Yeah. There's no disintegrating them, or yeah, they make us fall apart. Debbie says, I think I'm in the beginning, I watched way too many videos and I started to label him. Um, hmm. And sometimes too, we have to give somebody the right chance. Um, we have to be cautious, but when we start labeling people, it can cause arguments too. We're not clinicians. I'm certified to teach psychology, but um, even therapists, I told you about my borderline friend. She was misdiagnosed with bipolar for over 20 years. Just because somebody's a clinician, therapist, whatever, doesn't mean they're even going to be right. So, um, you know, if they're not, and even, yeah, so sensitive with them, if they're not self-aware, when you start to address certain things, it puts people on the defense. If they're not open to hearing it, they're just going to hear you're an asshole. You piss me off. You never listen to me. And sometimes it can change the way we communicate. Like, I know this person's a narcissist. They're not going to listen to me. So we sometimes stop communicating the right way too. You know, you have to be real careful how you do communicate with them. Um, and it's on a case by case basis. It was all new to you. Yeah. And what were the warning signs in the beginning that you saw? There's something that made you reach out, though. There was something that let you know um the relationship wasn't right. And hopefully at that time too, we self reflect. Am I being too needy? Am I being paranoid? A lot of times we make certain stories up in our heads. But Debbie says, LOL, Lily, that would be something. Leela Leela's thought you meant videos he was in. Uh-oh. Have you guys ever made videos? Not that I have. um, but that would be something. Yeah. And it is new. It's foreign. We're unsuspecting. And I think that's part of the reason it hurts too, where we kick ourselves. Was I a fool for getting into this relationship? A lot of people have said, I thought I was the only one. And as far as going through this, and you can see all across YouTube, whether it's my channel or other channels, all these people who were fooled. The narcissists are um, able to fool people. The hardest part about it is how they are able to discard so easy. And Tony Fox, what a cool name. I had a friend, Tina Fox, and always wanted to have the same last name. So, yes, there you are. Good for joining. Hi, Tony says. Good to have you here. Kaliwi says, hello from Seattle. We were just talking about your Keisha a moment ago. Look at all that love from Tony Fox. That's a foxy last name. I was so jealous. I wanted that last name. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. But she struggled with mental illness. She's the one I've told you guys about before, that it seemed like she had everything going for her. She had 3 kids, a husband, and her little baby was like 4 months old, and she killed herself on like Christmas Eve. She went up in the bedroom and shot herself in the head. Women don't usually do it that way. But Tony says, lots of love. John says, hey, Tony Kaliri. Oh, and you're just correcting your spelling. I'm like, what are you sorry about? And I just corrected your spelling. That's right. There's a teacher in the room. So Tony says, "Thank you so much." And he says, "Hello." Oh, let me know, Tony, um, male or female. Uh, I can't see your picture. What do you prefer, male or female? I can't see your picture. My eyes suck. So I just want to make sure. Um, my son dad just committed the S word January 4th and was in our condolences. So wow. Um, I notice you're female now. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Sorry. Uh, how are you doing about that? How's your son doing about that? And this right here will show you that, doesn't ARC have a better life? That they go through some severe depression sometimes. Um, Tony says hi to everyone. Uh, no problem at all. Okay. I'm a little older. I'm like NP, NP, NP. Oh, yeah, that's right. No problem. I got your lingo down. Just takes me a while. Yeah, I hope you're doing okay with that. You're taking it one day at a time. Um, can I ask how old your son is? Because that's going to be, we talk about the adverse childhood experiences that, make sure he might need some counseling. It was very hard on us, but God's getting us through. And thank you. He's 9. Yeah, I'm a teacher at elementary school. I teach art kindergarten through 4th grade. And I love my little ones. But he's going to need some extra love, to talk through his feelings. They're at that age, a lot of times too, they don't always know how to say what they're feeling. So he might feel off, and he might be like, I'm tired. And he's actually anxious or depressed, and doesn't know how to say it because he doesn't know the words. Tony says, yes, I'm actually looking for counseling as we speak, but he's doing well. The schools may have some guidance too. Um, at least if he's struggling, like some timeout, and it hit you hard, very hard. But I make sure I talk to him daily. Yeah. I, it's been a year, this January 4th. Okay. So um, a year's gone by, and gosh, how were you still together when you were with him? Um, wow. And that's the thing is the rate of unaliving is, oh, hold on, Debbie, I see yours. Um, is really high. And it's going up. Debbie says, I called the dealership and asked if he was alone at his desk because I didn't want to bother him. He turned that all around. He's like, why do you want to know if I'm alone? Red flag. Fucking red flag. Yeah, so, and that's the thing that we were talking about yesterday, is how our words are, the way we say something, is a reflection on how the person sees us. So he saw you as either being needy or untrusting. Um, and a lot of times that comes from within them, that they feel they would be untrustworthy, so you must be untrustworthy. It's this whole flip-floppy stuff that goes on, and he thought you were checking up on him, that you didn't trust him, you were using flying monkeys to uh, or uh, just trying to figure out, what he's up to, that you were spying on him, stalking him. And sometimes you're like, I was honestly just trying to be respectful, that, if you're in the middle of dealing with a customer, I didn't want to bother you. So next time we have to kind of word things a little bit better, like, hey, I'd like to talk to him. Is he with a customer right now? Or would I be able to, could you leave him a message? But sometimes good meaning things can turn really bad. You guys see my spider bite? Showing off my spider bite today. Say a prayer. It's not a brown recluse. Um, Went through that. Okay, so yeah, thank God we weren't together, but it was still hard. So, um, in a sense, it's like a two-part separation with for your son from uh, his father, where possibly that might have made it easy or separated since 2015, but still a shock. And you're probably quite young if you have a 9-year-old. Um, mm, that heart goes out to you. Kalibi says, I didn't mean to frighten anyone, but it makes sense that narcs get involved with spells on people to control them. And um, there are people who definitely do dabble with the uh, underworld, I guess we could call it. And I've seen people with altars and, the voodoo dolls and like all those kinds of things. Um, so, yeah, we did talk about that a little bit, on, like the witchcraft and things like that, the demonic spirits and, um, you know, things can get scary. The thing is to protect our heart, to protect ourselves, staying true to yourself. The more you dabble in evil things, the more evil will come to you. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy. The more righteous things you practice, the more protection you'll get. uh and unfortunately, um things don't always work out right, but you know a lot of times the um things we go through could be a blessing in disguise, and we'll never know it. We will never know it because um every little thing that happens, that whole butterfly effect that goes on. Tony says, or I'm sorry, Debbie says, Tony, I'm Debbie, and I will pray for you and your son. Yes. And we're here to help you. If you struggle with certain things, does your son have any nightmares, bedwetting? I- uh, because sometimes too, that can be a sign of the trauma. So if he's doing that, just be supportive. Um, and it's his body reacting to trauma. Um, yeah. And what was it? 1 in 8 children by the age of 18 have lost a parent, if I remember, and that was back in 1999 or so when I read that statistic. 1 in 8. I don't know what it is now. So he hasn't. Thank goodness. That's good. That's good. Um, Tony says it works for our good if we do the work, and I appreciate if you do the work, and I appreciate that. Yes. So yeah, life has full a lot of challenges. Thank you guys so much for those thumbs up. That definitely helps. But we have to pull from ourselves to lift our self-esteems, and that's why I said, to sometimes give yourself to that higher power. And I talk about this separation, just like conversations where I say, if I say you piss me off, that's like really harsh. And if it pisses me off, so it takes away the direct hit. That when we give our pain to a higher power, the direct hit is softened. Does that make sense? And it takes away how unbearable it can be at certain times. So, you know, um, I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe. The one thing that bothered me about my mom, who is basically an atheist, my dad was super religious, is I asked her, what do you believe? I'm not trying to lead her anyway, but she's like, I don't know, and know what you believe. It's your faith. And at least know what that is. You either do believe, don't believe, but, you know, um, it's important to know who you are. Is that a part of you or is that not a part of you? Tony says we have a close relationship, so I make sure we discuss him and his feelings often because I study a lot and seek ways to make sure we are on track. But it's really God foundational. That's good. And you might even, at dad's birthday, write dad a note, um, he'll see you writing it and things like that to where um, he can express things. He can feel that, you know, sometimes getting the words out. Art therapy, can be helpful. I'm an art teacher, but, you know, yeah. So Tony says, thank you, Debbie. Debbie says, anytime. We have a really good group here, really good group of supportive people. And we got quite a few people. You guys can feel free to join in too. I'm really good with helping several people at one time. And you guys can comment away. Tony says we celebrated his dad's birthday too for our son. And I think that's important, let him have those memories. And we're happy you're here too. How are you dealing too, though? You said he was a narcissist and he was probably quite struggled to do what he did. That how are you doing? I don't know if you're dealing with any CPTSD. You got that um you know, I don't know how long you were with him, things like that, but the longer we are with them and the more severe that they are, that it can cause, trauma that we can get stuck in for a long time. So we're really glad to have you here. Kalibi says, oh boy, did I see today the male narc is grooming his new supply. Uh-oh. The new supply is an older gay man, maybe 10 years older than me. I kind of feel bad for him. He's being groomed to be abused. Oh. Um, so this is for a relationship, is what you're thinking? The male narc, wants to be with the older gay man. And that's the thing, sometimes too, when you're 10 years older. Oh, as a friend. Okay. Um, but yeah, what did you see him do? Probably just even talking to him that they're so shady. But yeah, Kalibi, tell us. What did you see him doing? Um, because sometimes too, even, if that older man is isn't it weird? A lot of times, it's like 10 to 14 years, you know, you see that across. Debbie says, Cynthia, I think it, and you keep saying what I'm thinking. Jinx. Oh, can't talk. Somebody say my name. Somebody say my name. I love it. King. Hi, King. Good to have you here. So yeah, we were talking about an older gay man, if that's what you mean. So hi, King. My crown, can I put my crown on? I like being Myth America. I still got to work on my Myth America character where I debunk different myths. It's just hard to say that word. Like what I get myself into. Hi, Myth America. It's not. Kalibi says, "Oh, he was helping him haul some boxes to his place. I knew what this narc was doing." Yeah, and not all things they do are um, to um, seduce us. That's not necessarily entrap us or whatever. Sometimes they are kind-hearted, but a lot of times, um, you know, they they do good and they do bad, and it gets really confusing. But the part is sometimes they have true intentions, sometimes they purposely don't. But they are human too. They want interactions, but the thing that is toxic about them is they don't care about the people. So they do things, but in the end, it's for selfish reasons. Like that could just be like, hey, I need a new friend, somebody to hang out with. But if one thing goes wrong, fuck you then. They're easily able to discard people. John says we are definitely getting this chat better and better. Cynthia, good group of people we have here. And I love it. Look at all those thumbs up you guys are giving me. And that helps with the algorithm. Get some people in here that we haven't met yet. And just, you guys are starting to get to know each other too. Each other's stories. Leave your legacy for the world to know. Calibri says, however, I am tired convincing people who are fogged up by the narc. I'll let them do their own discovery. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they, until they experience it, they're not going to believe it. They're going to think that you're the one spreading rumors or being spiteful. And we kind of, you know, gotta let people make their own decisions too. And sometimes too, we have to be aware as well. Um, you know, yeah. Some people, let's say you said, stay away, that person's a drug addict. And they're like, oh, that's what I want. What do you mean stay away? Not that you want that, but I'm just saying some people in their stages of life, but try not to fall into that kind of addiction because that is not good. A lot of people need coping mechanisms. Debbie says, John, I was thinking the same thing. And then she said it. Oh, I love you guys. So, Debbie, you want to just type it for me? And I'm going to go take a little break. Debbie's going to run the channel. We should do that. I'll interview you, Debbie, and we'll be saying the same thing. I told you I want to interview. My name's Cynthia Schiller, and there's a psychologist or psychiatrist, Cynthia Schiller, and I want to interview a doctor that has my same name, have us side by side. I want to do that so bad. I reached out to her. Hopefully she'll get back to me. That would be fun. John says that's happened to me on a few occasions. I'm psychic, telepathic. Kaliwi says, I am glad in a way. The male narcs seem to have moved on to another new supply. And sometimes it's a relief. And Debbie says this happened to me with Cynthia quite a bit. I love it. John says, I finally finished the tri-wheel roller skates and just tested them out in the hallway. Takes getting used to, but they work great. I bet I could do good on them. I like high heels and I'm 6'1". I don't wear them, but I can walk in them because I used to teach ballroom dance at Arthur Murray's in heels. Debbie says, no one helped me. I knew him 7 years, then bye. Okay. And I like the way the 8YE. I didn't know if that was on purpose or not, but that worked out. Like the next year would have been 8. So you retracted your message. I'm good with typos if that's why you retracted it. I can deal with typos. I read through them. But yeah, there's times that, we are really traumatized. And you know, we 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 put our focus on our narcissist so much or things that we can't change. Um, Tom Schiller, I don't know. Somehow there, it could be a different Schiller, but you spelled it the right way. Are they from Michigan? My uncle won the Nobel Prize, Robert Schiller, and he's been doing a lot of ancestry. Here's you see it? My little book, my family history, Schiller and Radsville. Where's my picture in here? You want to see my picture? But there's my family. Can you see me in there? Look at that blonde right down there on the floor. But Tom Schiller reached out to my uncle on the through the answer the DNA type stuff. So maybe I don't know. I believe they were in Michigan, Detroit area. And then somebody else reached out to me on Facebook and asked, and I might say that I don't know. I don't know who Lisa is, so I can't. How do you know Tom and Lisa? Are you just making up names? Interesting. I might be. I might be. Somehow that time I don't know who he is. How like it's probably like fourth or fifth cousins or something. John says the skates can be worn over your regular footwear since you just slide your feet into them. Do you remember those metal snake skates with the leather straps? Those were really fun, but they, you could go over cement and stuff, but the sound, oh, the sound. We used to skate with those in our basement. They were nice because you could adjust them, uh, so we didn't have to worry about outgrowing them for a long time. But I saw some of those at the antique shop last time I went. I almost bought some for my grandkids, but I'm like, no, I from Franklin, Wisconsin. I could be wrong because, like I said, he didn't reach out to me. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And my memory could be wrong. It might be Wisconsin. I don't know. Maybe I am a really related to a Tom Schiller somehow. So I don't know if that's the same person. And I think Tom reached out to my uncle like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So Lisa and Tom could have moved as well too. So she's a oh, I've seen some Schillers as producers. Um, hmm, I don't know. I want to say too, my uncle is Robert Schiller, but I think there's a different Robert Schiller that's also a producer. I know you're saying Tom, but and she spells it SHI because that's pretty uncommon to be SHI. It used to be SCH. So, huh, I should reach out and maybe. Oh, I'm glad you said that. Wait, I got to do that. Um, in Wisconsin, you just made me think of something. Okay, Lisa Schiller. I might even get past PR because of my last name. Channel 58. Maybe we can go do a little interview on Channel 58. Producer. What do you think about that? Producer. Married to Tom. Get my little foot in the door. Um, I wonder. She used to be a Merry Maid because I used to love to clean. I cleaned their house. Do you know them? You could tell them that your new best friend Cynthia wants to be. She's got to produce our shows. Very interesting, and it is a really small world. You know that Kevin Bacon thing. That the 6 stages of Kevin Bacon. What is it? You were never more than 6 people away from everybody in this world, and I have blue eyes, and they even say that everybody with blue eyes is related to each other. So I believe I'm sorry, redheads with was it green eyes or 2%? Yep. So if you have blue eyes, hey family. And now that's the thing too is we have to be careful on certain things that we research. Let's say that's true. So everybody who has blue eyes is related, but they don't expand out to say and people with green eyes and people with brown eyes and gray eyes are all related too. So be careful on your research. That's the way my mind thinks. I don't know if it's from going to law school or whatever, that little pieces of information, all blue eyes are related. Don't take it as nobody else is related. Or, that does that make sense what I'm trying to say? I try to go from all different angles. And I think as far as my personality, when I was dealing with narcissistic abuse, I looked from every, every angle and analyzed way too much. Um, So Debbie, you're going to be one of my new best friends because you love to clean. And I made that big dinner tonight and I need to do my dishes. I was going to do them, but then I decided to make a couple videos instead. So, Calibri says a preacher type guy, uh, Keenan Bridges. I don't think it's Kynan, but it could be Kynan or Keenan Bridges. Would it be Kynan? Kynan Bridges, who shares meaningful videos. Uh, is he a caramel colored man? Trying to think. He shared this beware of monitoring spirits. He was referring to the narcs. I think this guy really shares effective. Let me see. That might be, and it was so long ago. I can't remember exactly what the guy looked like. Um, All right, so this might be somebody suggested this person to me. I don't know if it's the same person. Um, hmm, I don't know. I know he was a black man of some sorts, but I'd have to see it in the interview. Was it him? It was so long ago that I heard it. Um, Maybe there was one person. I'll reach out to my friend and see if that's who it was. But yeah, that if it is the same person, um, really good information. Beware of monitoring spirits. And yeah, they'll watch us. No, from Franklin, Wisconsin. Let me scroll up, make sure I got everybody. So that's really interesting. I don't know. Channel 58. Do I look at all? Well, that's the thing. She probably married into it, so she probably doesn't look like me. Because traditionally you take the man's last name. Debbie says, back to the narc. I feel like I need to explain to the narc how sorry I am for fudging up on him. I was so wrong. It makes me want to cry. And we can only do so much. If we say, hey, look, um, yeah, and before we even do that, is it healthy? Is it um if they're truly a narc, they're not going to give a crap. um they have that black and white thinking, and we have to realize that they really loved us. Are they sad when we're not gone, or when we are gone? And if you were to do that, if you start going, I'm really sorry, I wasn't thinking. Now that I think about it, and I hope you forgive me because I can't live without you. And I just really want you to know. Like, if you go and explain everything, it will not work with a narcissist. They will get ticked off, irritated, think you're a fool, a loser. With a narcissist, most of the time, from my experiences, you have to be clear to the point. Like, look, I didn't mean to piss you off, but it was a missing. You got to be so sensitive with how you say it too. Um, that a lot of times too, they're going to think you're lying when you're saying what you're saying. But you got to be clear and to the point. Like, look, dude, I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings or trying to spy on you. I was just trying to be respectful, wanting to make sure that you weren't in the middle of a sales call, and leave it at that. They either take it or they leave it. But if you start explaining it, it's a different kind of breed. They're not going to be like, oh, that's so sweet, or, oh, I understand. They're going to be like, well, fuck you. They're hard. Too much emotion pushes them away. So, is it Kynan? Keenan or Kynan? It's got me. Uh, Type Kee if it's Keenan. Otherwise, I'll say Kynan. It's huh? Kee or Ky for Kai. Eye. Or Eye. Um, it's spelled out Kai. Kynan. It's spelled out with a Kentucky. Kentuckians. All right, Kentuckians videos. Covered recognizing and defeating witchcraft attacks. How to recognize a witch. Yeah, what do you guys think about witchcraft? There's something out there though. There's something. Um, that yeah. Debbie says last night I was watching YouTube on her TV. I was watching people falling and I was laughing out loud. Then I stopped and thought, "Oh my god, you are laughing and you're happy." Then I watched Pet Rescue. And it's good, to be happy. Um, so, sometimes we have to think, are we laughing when people get really, really hurt? Or are we laughing because we're like, oh, I can relate. Did you see my blooper video? You can laugh at that one. I did a video a short video, one of the shorts, and I tripped up my stairs. So, yeah, got it on camera, decided to post it for you guys. Um, yeah, if I come across more videos that I blooper, I'll post those for you guys too. So yeah, it's good, and it's interesting that then you went to watch Pet Rescue, that's positive things, you know, and Kynan Bridges is what I think you're trying to say. And there's a lot of good information out there, you know. Like I keep saying, knowledge will help us heal. We just have to find the knowledge, and we also have to um, make sure that we do our own due diligence too on the things that we hear. There's a lot of good people out there, and sometimes misleading things too. So Cleve says, and Kynan indicated that there's no such thing as a good witch. John says witchcraft. There's our John John. Just kidding. A girl I met once was convinced she was a real vampire. Some people do drink blood, you know. Some people feel it empowers them. I don't think that's a good idea with AIDS and all that stuff going around. Or even just different infections that people have. And blood types too. I wonder how that works. I know you ingest it. If you drink it, it might kill it. Because that's not good if you have the wrong blood type. Um, so yeah, a good witch. If you think about it, Calibri, is if it is a good witch, it would be playing God, right? Does that make sense? Bad witches, that would make sense, like doing the devil's work. But um, we have the word angel, which is different than uh witches, I believe, are the creators of the happening. Um, not in implementation. I don't even know the right word. Um, like angels are sent to do God's work, but a good witch would be a god. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Debbie says, I think the narc can put a spell on us. He's a demon. It felt good to be by myself again. And so, Debbie, I know you're struggling. You are struggling with the pain. CPTSD will do a number on you. And, like you said, it felt good to be myself again. You know, um, it does get better. And the more little doses of feeling yourself, the more you're going to like it, the more you're going to just want to be you again. So it does feel like we're under some kind of spell. And, I do want to do more research. I don't even know if I could live long enough to get the answers. I know, um, but, like the demonic looking eyes, I have a video on what causes that. There's the adrenaline rushes and the pupils dilating and yada, yada. There's some scientific things to it. But, where did these triggers come from, these intrusive thoughts and the misfires and the schizophrenia and like it a lot can be explained by science, but there's still so much that can't be explained. um Klebe says, I've heard of a cult on vampirism. I've met a tat artist years ago that he's involved in this kind of cult. I noticed that when he was doing my tat, in the midst of his artwork, he was salivating, seeing fresh blood coming out of my skin. And I can see that, interesting that you said that, uh, huh. There's also fetishes. There's also things like that where people are into that. You know, uh, That's interesting that you saw that. How did you feel? Did you feel, like, scared? After his artwork was done on me, that was the last time I saw him. That's kinda like a red flag. Like, do we even need to stay to figure out if it's okay or not? There's times it's like, it's just safer. Debbie says, "How much are these narcs into devilish things?" Just it depends. And depends on what you mean by devilish. Uh, hiding your car keys could be seen as devilish. Judy, your narc has OCD too. That's common. I was just that borderline lady I was talking to today. She was saying that her narcissist also has OCD. He's got a big thing with time. And, every day at 10 o'clock, he calls her and has to get off the phone at whatever time. And has to be home at certain times. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is uh, trauma related a lot of times too. And how have you been doing, Judy? Kalibi says after his artwork. Sorry, I read that. Debbie says some of that is from my childhood. Then the narc came along and pushed me further. Yep, and we do. A lot of us have childhood trauma. It's what molds us. And Kalibi says it was kind of late. He was in the middle of doing his artwork when he revealed that he's involved in vampirism. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And Judy says it's been very hard. How long have you been? Uh, Let me know uh, how long it's been since you've been with your person. 7 months since you've seen your person. So you're saying, and 7 months away. Okay. Um, yeah, there's times, it can take decades to get over this person. And that's why it's really important to educate yourself that we can speed up the healing process a lot quicker by understanding, don't beat yourself up about things. We have to accept what is. Uh, you know, it hurts. It hurts, but your girls are very hurt. Yeah, when children are involved too, make sure that they know it's not their fault. A lot of times children will think that the breakup is their fault. And that's a heavy burden that'll affect them later on in life too. Can cause behavioral problems if they feel, responsible for the breakup because they're going to want to try uh, to overachieve, things like that. Hoping that you guys will get better if they only do this or that. So they need to be educated as well. Kalibi says, I do believe in educating ourselves to heal faster and at the same time protect ourselves on a future emotional abuse. Exactly. Know what those red flags are. Debbie says, but he used it against me. Some of that is from my narc. Oh, yeah. And they do use it against you, Debbie. Your childhood traumas or sensitivities that you might have, they throw it in your face. And it's a manipulation tool to either shut you up or to hurt you or to get power over you. And that makes it's like a double whammy. We're already hurting. Now they're slapping us with all this crap, using it against us. It can be quite painful. Judy says her dad walked on them too, is what they told me. Oh, good girl. She changed her spelling. I am a teacher. A plus for Judy. um, this channel, you're welcome. I hope to help a lot of people, and I'm glad it's helped you. Um, and Judy, what is it that you're struggling with right now? Ruminating or feeling overwhelmed, doing everything by yourself, or a feeling of abandonment, betrayal? Um, when we start realizing what it is that we're hurting about, um, those are where we can start healing. Are we lonely? Then reconnect with some people or make some new friends, instead of going to somebody who's not there for us. Um, you know, trust. Yeah. And that's a big one. That is a big one. That's a big one. And part of it is take your time. Let the people invest in you too. Keep a balance with that. Don't be so closed off that you push people away. Um, we have to give people chances, but we can also get some red flags based on, um, the stories that they tell us. If they said, "Yeah, my friend was such a an asshole. He didn't come over to my birthday party, so I popped his tires and fucker should have come over." It's like, "Oh, they're capable of things like that." That they will reveal some of themselves, as you just talk to them, and you can talk to uh, surrounding people. See, and it's hard because the narcissist likes to lie too and tell stories. Debbie says, I've poured my life out in his group in 1 week. It's very helpful. Oh, in this group. I've poured my life out in this group in 1 week. It's very helpful. He, the narc, thinks he got me where he wants me. LOL. I played that card on him. Yep. Take your strength back. And yeah, Debbie, you've really opened up to us. And when we can open up and let our vulnerabilities out, we can help ourselves. We can have the right people helping us. But unfortunately, with a narcissist, they'll either laugh at us, use it against us. Um, Sometimes, too, eh, they like hearing those stories. Sometimes, too, it's like, oh, you had trauma. So I'm not the only one had trauma, and they identify with it, but then they'll still use it against you. So Debbie says, I'm an Aquarius and I'm a risk taker. Not good. Then a super empath. I'm a lot. And just don't be a empath to the point of your detriment, because I kind of fall into that too, you know. But as an analogy, if I want to be super empathetic and I'm thinking about you, caring about you guys, and I really do care about you guys, but um if I get to the point where it's like I can't log off, I have to, and days go by and I'm not logging off, I'm not taking a nap because I'm concerned about you guys. um that can destroy me. It can destroy my career, my health, my sleep habits. 11 days without sleep, you die. There's a time that we have to be like, I can help people, but I also have to take care of myself. And sometimes when we're empathetic, we get into that, if I just try harder, if I just try harder. And it's, I hope you understood my analogy when we forgo our needs, that we're actually hurting ourselves when we're trying to be helpful, if that makes sense. Um, and that's good. We are a lot. Take pride in ourselves, and thank you for those thumbs up. I appreciate that. So, um, are the girls acting out, Judy? The trust, the trust takes time. The trust take time. But they are acting out. Okay. Um, you're a fast type of girlfriend. Um, what kind of things are they doing? Just are they fighting with each other? That can make it hard on you. Um, and we have to remember during trauma that the brain activity is different. Like I said, I'm an elementary school teacher, and you see the kids that come from a harder background that they act out a lot more. Your 21-year-old starts a fight with me and called the police on you. Oh, that's not good. How long ago was that? Yeah, sometimes. What a horrible situation. Yeah. And, you know, um, we have to protect ourselves too, that um 3 months ago. What'd the cops do? Is Sorry to hear that. Yeah, that can be heartbreaking when you try to raise a child and then they do that. And at 21 years old, uh, that's still in the developmental stage of the brain. The brain can develop up until 25. They arrested you. Are you still waiting on uh, like a trial or anything like that? Has that proceeded? That's that's gotta hurt too. You know, she has OCD, ADHD. Hmm. She's on meds. Does she take them religiously or does she skip them? And sometimes you gotta get the right medications. We have the kids at school, they're not I have to appear, and that's scary. Um, do you know what you're facing, what the charges might be? At that time, she took herself off a med, causes aggression. Are you able to document somehow if she says that she took her you might wanna try to document her saying, "Yeah, I wasn't on medication that day." That might help your case. Um, yeah, I don't know the whole story on how that went down. And if she still lives with you, I believe she does. Um, but, a lot of times they have to separate one person. I warned her when she did that. Hmm. Yeah, when the brain gets out of whack, I'm sorry, I missed what she does. I got all these thoughts going through my head. She became so aggressive. Was there something that triggered it? A lot of times too, we can bring it back to a trigger. Um, she put her hands on you and they arrested you. Um, did you put your hands back on her? And a lot of times people with some mental illness like to lie too. Debbie says maybe it's time for her to move out. Sounds like the way my son was. He's also ADHD and OCD. One to hold her back. Yeah, sometimes yeah. And the cops, they want to separate at least one person. Domestic disputes, they're supposed to take a person, and sometimes they get it wrong, like that Gabby Petito case, they got that wrong. They did separate them, but not the right way, and they didn't arrest one of them. Things could turn out different. John says, I know this sounds silly, but I can add wings to the roller chair using angled cardboard preforms. Are you trying to get it to fly? I know you want it to fly, or for aesthetics, do you want to make it look pretty? Because because she called, they took you. Okay. Um, yeah, they're gonna think, why would somebody call it? Okay. Yeah, and a lot of times too is they're smart. They are smart and they know um that how the game is played, and sometimes too they just feel they're the victim, and they can be it's interesting how they can do so many things. She's very smart. Not smart because mom's kicking her out. um yeah, and that's the thing, like they don't realize what they have sometimes, they just get caught up in their emotions and react or act. um And I think at this time, it's not up to her to drop it. I think the state has to drop it. I don't know where you are, or even if you're in this country. I was setting rules in my home with her boyfriend. Oh, okay. So she's got the hormones, she's got the ADHD and OCD, or I believe you said OCD. And yes, the state has to. Yeah, that's frustrating. So it's like, And the whole thing is it's your house, you know? I wonder how the judge is gonna see it. If you can get something documenting that she was like, "Yeah, I was off my, meds." Do you have a separation to where kinda like a personal protection order or an order from the court not to contact? Sometimes too, they'll say you can't harass, molest. I love that. You can't harass, molest, or kill. It's like, okay, I won't call him, harass him, or kill him. Uh, I had that with my ex. It's like, okay, good idea. I didn't plan to. John says both are 3 feet long. I just cut the angles and for looks. Judy says I couldn't go back to my home for a month. That's true. Oh, I bet. Oh, that would eat at me. Whoa. Do you think she has any remorse? Does she feel bad about it, or is it like, haha, fuck you, mom? Um, whoa. And that's the thing. We both are home now. So you guys are allowed, uh, they just had what, a 30-day separation until you go to court? That's interesting. I don't know how that works. I did go to law school, but that was back in 97 during pretrial. Okay. So you can add more to the, so it's a more interesting case. I hope things are smoothed over. Is your daughter going to admit to any wrongdoing or at least her portion in the trial? Because that's where it gets scary. You know, the judge asked her if she felt safe. Okay. That's a new thing they're doing. You know, it was really weird. I blew my knee out and I had to go to the hospital. And they're like, "Do you feel safe at home?" I'm like what? Because I live alone. Yeah, you hope she does. Yeah. Um, yeah. Try to keep things kind and cool and calm. So when she goes to court, she's not all pissed off. She's thankful for what she has, you know. Um, yeah, I can see why trust is a big thing too. Can you talk to the DA, district attorney, or is that a bad idea? She should not. Maybe her attorney, but that may cause like issues about bribing. I think that they do have like meetings, you know, like can we do a plea bargain or, you know, this is going to be a waste of time. They probably have some kind of some communication. Like this is our case. Do we go forward with it? Judy definitely shouldn't be the one to reach out though. It should go through an attorney. John says, I've decided, and that's a good question. You know, it is a good question. My attorney did try to get the charges dropped and they don't want to drop it. Oh, do you, you don't have to share this if you don't want to, but do you have any, pre-existing, things on your record maybe? Um, sometimes too, if you've done anything in the past. Okay. Debbie says you better take out extra life insurance, John. John says I meant gull wing design. I've decided to attach the wings to the chair using hinges. That way they get pulled up or out like full wing designs. Yeah. Extra life. He wants to fly. Yep. You'll be flying like an angel. Like literally. So John is laughing at that. And you're clean. Okay. So that's going to help you. That is going to help you. Any ties you have to community, responsibilities, things like that can help too. Types of jobs, your responsibilities, and um, things like that. But guys, I love you very, very much. I have to wake up early, so I'm going to be logging off. Tomorrow is Monday. Um, do you guys like the 9 p.m.? I can do one more. What do I have tomorrow? We can do a 9 p.m. again, Eastern Standard Time, like this time. Um, Sleep with the Angels. Yes. I definitely need some sleep. I'm like I said, I'm a teacher. Friday we had a snow day, and I slept until 4:40 p.m. I've been really worn out. I don't know if it's my tarantula bite. I think it's a brown recluse. I've been real exhausted lately, but um, maybe long COVID. I don't know, but so guys, we had a lot of new people, a lot of people returning, and we got the from the start group with us. So you know what? Thank you for reminding me on that. I should get some. It's probably some low B12 too as well. Thank you for saying that. I will need to get some. That affects you. Yeah, it makes you tired too. Thank you for saying that. It might be a lot of it. Debbie says the justice system sucks. Yeah, that's why I stopped going to law school. Um, because during my custody battle, it didn't matter what you knew, it mattered who you knew. And there's some shady judges out there. But we're going to believe in it for Judy. We're going to believe in it for Judy this time. It's going to work out for her. And guys, my sister's having knee surgery, full knee replacement. So please say a prayer for her if you feel so inclined. John says, okay, Cynthia, have a good night. Sleep well. Good night to everyone else here tonight. I slept till 12 today. Take care, everyone. So, guys, lots of love to you. Sending prayers. Thank you. We'll see you guys soon. Topic requests are welcome tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you again. And then I'll go back to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during the week because I do teach and I get exhausted. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you soon. And there we go. Bye, guys.